Welcome to Life on the Rocks, your innovative entrepreneurship and motivational based show where we ask the real questions by tapping into the minds of successful, high performing individuals. I'm going to predicate to you that luck is an illusion, disproving the myth that there's a such thing as an overnight success. Get ready and strap in 3, 2, 1.
Coming at you live from Life on the Rocks with your host, Rocque. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is my friend, Mitch Gagnon. How are you, Mitch?
Doing great.
Awesome, man. It's honestly a pleasure to have you on the show. Local celebrity. For anyone who doesn't know, Mitch Gagnon is actually a mixed martial artist. He fights in the Premier League, the UFC, obviously the biggest league for mixed martial arts in the world. Mitch is also an entrepreneur here in the city. So you own Troop MMA, right?
I do, yeah.
How long have you been in business with Troop?
We're rolling into our third year now.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a great experience.
No, absolutely. I've trained there with Mitch actually before, with one of your fighters, Jesse Connie, a good friend of mine as well. And yeah, you guys have done a phenomenal job. Kind of brings it back from the old days. I used to actually train in that gym, so it's funny to see. So, first question I want to ask, what got you being into mixed martial arts, Mitch?
I started, combative competitions. Since grade 5 I was wrestling. I got into wrestling when I was grade 5 on almost throughout my high school. Got out of it for a few years, and then kind of got back into it in my early 20s, and just one thing led to another. Started getting really, passionate about it, training every day, really trying to, stay, strict and disciplined, and eventually I got my first pro fight in 2007, and then, yeah.
Well, and you're ringside title holder too, right? Quebec as well.
I am, yeah.
I want you to walk the audience through this. So, when you're walking into a fight, I always told people, like, when we're at those demonstrations, it's like you're walking in, your song's blaring over the thing, you get all amped up, you're warmed up. There's no turning back. Walk them into the mindset of what's going on in your head before you're about to step into that ring or that cage.
Well, I mean, now, I love the experience. If you would ask me this question in my first 3-4 pro fights, I still remember, just being in the back room and, shaking my head saying, like, who got me into this? Who put me up to this? And, but it was like, you're committed to this. So, the first few fights, to be honest, I don't even remember the walk. I don't even remember the fights. I can barely even remember getting my hand raised, and that's like how much, just like, how much you're being stimulant and adrenaline. And eventually you get used to that adrenaline, and you get that perfect peak of adrenaline. The more time you put in, the more minutes you have in the ring, the more where adrenaline is good, but too much adrenaline is not. So you have to find that kind of like, line where you kind of like, they call it like the alpha state, where you're perfect balance, right?
Yeah, the mind and body, you're like in the zone kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you find do you have any kind of mantra, or do you say anything to yourself before you go in? Do you have anything that kind of triggers your mind, or do you just have a thing, you warm up, you feel good?
Well, before I used to get, like, emotions comes in waves, right? Like, you get really like, oh my God, I'm going to fight. And you try to bottle that up. And now what I do is I just let it, I enjoy the experience of that anxiety, of that, being a little bit scared, and I enjoy it now. I enjoy the whole process, and so I don't have really any ritual. I mean, you have to always, concentrate on being aware that you're breathing correctly, not hyperventilating for nothing, and all these little things, are important. Trying to stay level until, you're in the cage, and as soon as the ref, says fights on, I mean, all that anxiety, all that, goes away, and just you're just kind of like on autopilot from there on.
Exactly, yeah. And when you say, like, so fighting's more like it's all reacting, right? It's like one of those things you put all the time in. It's like, okay, stop thinking, because the more you think, you're going to get hit or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you it's not time to try something new.
Exactly.
It's not like, I'm going to start this wheel kick or whatever, right? So it's like you've trained some specific combination for the the fighter that you're fighting against, especially when you get in the upper echelon, where you could get videos and you could get stuff where you could see, look at this guy, this has this kind of tail, he does this a lot. So you could kind of like try to trap into these scenarios to counter whatever he's doing wrong or the tells that he has, right?
No, exactly. Do you find, like, so if you're in a fight and you're having a difficult time, like, do you rely on your wrestling more so? I've watched a number of your fights, and, like, you're the type of guy, you come right out, which is good. Like, you know what I mean? Catches a lot of people off guard.
Yeah.
Like, you rely, you just try to mix it up as much as possible, screw with them a little bit, kind of dip in, come out.
Yeah, I mean, like, before I used to, like, use my wrestling a lot and just, press people against the cage and overwhelm them that way.
Beat them up.
Yeah, but with the more you climb that ladder, the more people are more well-rounded. And so you have to adapt to that, and you have to start learning new things. You can't just be that one-dimensional fighter, right? So eventually I had to, kind of like broaden my my techniques, have more, tools in my pockets, so I could. So I try to just be a great mixed martial artist.
Absolutely.
I try to, do as much as I can. If I feel like I'm weaker here, I'll double up on that to bring that game a little higher. And that's basically what martial art is. It's not like, I feel like even like the next generation of fighters, you won't see guys doing like, wrestling, then jiu-jitsu, then kickboxing. Fighters from my generation will start, learning what works and what doesn't, and they'll just make it as a sport.
Exactly,
Right,
yeah.
as opposed to being like, okay, go to wrestling practice and do all this stuff that doesn't apply, right, in wrestling, or do all this stuff that doesn't apply in jiu-jitsu, because now with sports jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of stuff
True.
that you shouldn't be doing in MMA because you're going to get punched, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, the generation of, the next generation of coaches, that's when they're like, funnel that thing, those things right here. So all this stuff is a waste of energy.
Exactly,
That makes
yeah.
sense, right? So, you're going to see a change. And I think you're seeing it right now. A lot of the fighters that, that are retiring, that, kind of like did that, kind of, okay, I'm going to do boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. They're going to develop a program where it's going to be MMA classes every day.
Exactly,
Maybe
yeah.
specify more on the striking aspects than the jiu-jitsu. But what I'm saying is, like, you're not going to waste your time on, doing like in wrestling, the whole purpose of wrestling, especially when you're on the ground, is to flip the guy on its back. Well, in MMA, you want to be on your back and guarding yourself. You're not trying. Who cares if you're getting pinned?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So all that stuff that when you're at wrestling practice, it's not like I'm going to say, hey, coach, can we not do this today? Because like, it's not applicable for me.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
you just do the wrestling class, right? So there's a lot. At the end of the day, there's just so much energy, so much, your body can endure.
For sure.
Right. So why not build a program, an MMA program
Exactly,
on a weekly
yeah.
basis, and then you could get specialists to come to your class.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
get a wrestler from Brock University to come in and kick our ass, basically. in wrestling,
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So instead of like going to their practice, you get them to come here, and then you just focus on what is applicable to MMA.
To MMA, okay, yeah, I like that idea too, because that's so important. Like, even one of your training partners, so I was watching his interview with Joe Rogan, which was Bazooka Joe, so
Yeah.
Joe Valtellini, and he went on, he's like, yeah, I don't run. He's like, I don't, do the running, like, I know a lot of fighters that's been programmed like that for a long time, but he's like, yeah, he's like, I don't need, he's like, I do the explosive training towards, what I gotta do for my fight, so he's similar to that, like, he's kind of doing his own sort of thing, right? So going back to that actually with Bazooka Joe, so how important do you believe it is to surround yourself with people like that? Like those important figures that are top level kickboxers, the wrestlers, all that, like, is that, you can see, like, even watching your second fight, I forget the gentleman's name you were fighting, but it was funny, like, I asked you the wrestling question, first thing is, you hit the guy right in the first round, he goes right down, you choked him out. So it goes to show, like, how well-rounded you are, and same with Joe Rogan said, he's like, you're a world-class specialist at what you do, like, you come in, people think, oh, maybe he comes from wrestling background, yeah, you're almost pretty much knocking people out, you're choking them out, you're doing all this stuff. So how important is it to have those people on your team to elevate that game?
Yeah, I feel it's super important, right? Because you'll have your baseline coaches where where it's going. They're going to be kind of like best way I can explain. It's like a guy that could do it all, but he's not a specialist at
Yeah.
anything. Well, that's where the coaches are going to come in, and the good coaches will, like the know-it-all coaches will bring a specialist, of kickboxing of here to kind of like fine-tune things and put you in the hot spots in a few different areas, right? But so yeah, it is super important.
It goes to mentality, like you gotta have, the mentors, the people, because you surround yourself with the best, that's how you're gonna be the best. I mean, especially for anyone who doesn't know too, maybe watching this, Mitch has fought, you fought the #1 contender at that time, and that guy, like I was watching him come up a lot of time, and you'd see him finishing guys, and I mean, you hung in there the whole entire fight. You did put up a good fight.
Yeah, I did all right.
How did you feel going into that? Like getting that call on the phone, like walk us through that. It's like, oh, you're gonna be fighting hand and brow.
Yeah, like when I got the call, I didn't hesitate. Obviously, I wanted to take it because I had momentum. I was on a 4-fight winning streak, and I really wanted to test myself against the top 10.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I get the phone call to fight the former champion in Brazil, and
his hometown, or not his hometown, but his city or country. Go ahead.
Yeah, and no, it's alright. And yeah, I took the fight. I mean, I felt confident. I'm not gonna lie. I felt really confident. I had put a good camp in. I felt strong. Felt fast. And it was, to me, looking back, like going in that third round, I thought, we were one apiece. One round apiece. I thought I had the second round for sure, and I think I was winning the first until he dropped me last minute. But I feel like overall I was winning the fight, and then the third, in my mentality was, I'm in Brazil, I need to get this finished, right? So
yeah.
I kind of threw the kitchen sink at him, trying to finish him in the third, and I just remember when he took me down, I just couldn't even breathe anymore. Like literally could not breathe oxygen anymore.
That was it. Yeah.
And I feel like I was already being choked without even the choke being on me, right? So, but it was a great experience fighting that type of caliber, knowing that I could compete against that type of caliber.
And almost win. You pretty much almost won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said. So.
So yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence, and yeah.
Who do you watch, like when you're looking at some of these martial artists, like who inspires you as a martial artist, or just like you're interested in when you look at these guys, like Raymond Daniels, for instance, like he's a kickboxer, obviously,
Yeah.
but I see some of these guys, like who do you like to watch, and you're like, wow, they move well, they like are like a Tyrone Woodley, like.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I'm obviously there's still some of the guys that I admire and stuff, but when I start watching fights, I'm 32 years old, so I started watching the sport like 15, 16 years ago. So the guys that inspired me was Matt Hughes,
Yeah.
Couture, Georges St. Pierre. The list goes on of guys that were that I look
For
up
sure.
to type of thing. And then I guess the fighters that I'm looking at these days are guys that it's not that they have a game plan, but they they understand movement and they actually do their studies on their opponent, and you could see that in the fight. It's not just guys just going in there and banging and see who's the toughest, right?
Who hits the floor?
Yeah, there's a lot of very great athletic people out there that gets away with fighting that way, but strategically someday there's going to be a more athletic person, more stronger, powerful person, right? So there's, you need to have a, understanding of people's, especially at that level where you could have, video tutorials of all these fighters and breaking down what are their tails, where do they go to when they're fatigued, right? Because they might do corrections, at the gym with their coaches on some of their tails, but if you've been doing this for 10 years, and you're fatigued, well, you go to that, right?
Exactly.
So that's where you look at, that's where you kind of pick what they'll do once they're fatigued or what they just do naturally, because they've been doing it so well, right?
I find that, or go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just saying so long.
Yeah, no, for sure. I found that interesting. I was watching an interview with Georges St. Pierre. Like, obviously, he's coming back now too. He was going on about Michael Bisping, even though Bisping, he's been around for a long time, but he was the guy that never gives up. He's been finished. He comes back. Comes back. Where he's like, he's seen other guys that you can see the mentality's not as strong, right? They get finished and they'll give up. Even Rumble Johnson, unreal fighter, right? But then Cormier would say, he's like, well, no, he's given up in the gym, and he knew when he was about to choke him out in that last fight. He was saying, he's just like, his coach was saying, don't give up, because he's like, well, obviously in the gym or something, it's happened before. So then it picked him off, kind of sparked him up to finish that. So going off of this idea, I want to transition here. So as a fighter, so we're talking about different martial artists. How important is it to market yourself? You can look at guys like McGregor, he's got the big vocal mouth, and then he puts himself up to that platform and he sells himself. How important is that as a fighter? Like if there's a mixed pool, like to get you out there more?
Yeah, I feel like I wish, I don't know if Conor McGregor just
Signed it for
knew
two
what to
times.
do, or he was coached, or what he, I wish I would have had that kind of like broad mentality when I came in, because when I was fighting, I was just thinking of fighting,
For sure.
not thinking of all these, how important it was, how it could benefit you financially and bring just open doors for you.
For sure.
Because I was just, I was passionate about the sport, right? But you can be passionate in anything, you know what I mean? But being able to market yourself and again, just open more doors for you, I think it's super important. So obviously I'm doing this transition where I'm trying to market myself, I'm trying to do these things to get my, I guess, interact with my fans more. But it's something that's new to me because I was never doing it. It was never a thought process because I wasn't doing this, for attention. I wasn't doing this for,
The fame of
the
it.
fame out of it, right?
You're a humble guy, just like to fight.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
I just want to compete and just the lifestyle is such a great lifestyle to me. Whether I, ever compete again or not, doesn't matter to me because the lifestyle, what it brings me with my club, and it really is a great lifestyle. Just being able to be active and healthy and help other people achieve their goals. It's a great thing.
It must be nice watching some of your guys that you've trained, and even taking guys like Cronje and Mike Wadowski, and you're watching them like you've trained them for months and years, and then you watch the guy go in the ring and he goes and finishes someone or uses that technique that you showed him. Like, I can imagine how rewarding that feels.
Yeah, it's really rewarding.
How do you find, like, so this is one of the last questions I want to ask. What do you find? Do you find it, obviously these are two different, one's physical, one's a little bit more mental, but what do you find? Do you find it's harder to be a martial artist or to run your business? They kind of explain the dynamics behind that.
You know what? Opening the True MMA 2 years and a little bit ago, kind of humbled me. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought it was just, I'm going to put some mats down on the ground, people are going to show up, and we're just going to roll with. I want to be a coach.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I love being the coach, and not so much the business side of it. But at the end of the day, if I don't learn the business side of it, nobody will know I even exist.
Exactly.
I can use a little bit of my name and
UFC, all the other stuff.
all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if I'm not out there in the public side, I kind of get behind here. So it's super important, right? So I'm trying to learn that side of things. Again, I was never in martial arts to have financial gain, right?
For sure.
So making that transition of I do want to do this for a living. I'm passionate about this. I want to teach, but if I want to do this full time, I need to, bring students in. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
So it's still a big transition for me to do things better for the gym, but it's a learning experience for me. I'm really enjoying it, yeah.
I know you got good trainers in there too. I mean, with Jesse and then Richard as well, and they're two really good guys, strong backgrounds, all in different. Like, you come in as the full package, and you have even Richard had fought pro as well.
Yeah.
And then Jesse's obviously on his way to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the important things obviously in business, and it comes back to that marketing piece where you got to be able to market yourself, market the business so people see, and then obviously use your name. Like you've proven yourself. You have videos online of everything you've done. So it's kind of wild. And in my closing remarks, what can we expect next from you, Mitch?
I'm hoping to be fighting in the next couple of months. There's a few cards that were thrown at me. There's a Brazil card. There's a European card. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm assuming probably by midsummer I'll be fighting again.
You excited?
I'm super excited.
It's awesome. Honestly, guys, Mitch, it's been awesome having you on the show. Very humble guy, too, you know what I mean, to step in a cage like that and you come in, very nice guy. So I appreciate check Mitch out on what's all your Instagram and your social feeds so they know.
You can check me out at Mitch Gagnon UFC. They're all, that's basically all my, my name, from Twitter account, Instagram, Facebook. You could, go check out my pages, and for my gym here, it's all True MMA, at Twitter, at Instagram, at Facebook. It's really easy to find.
Perfect. You guys want to do a free trial too? Give True MMA a call. It's right on LaSalle, right in the gym facility. So give it a shot. Seriously, I've been doing martial arts for years. Good times at your gym, honestly. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks
Good
for having me.
pleasure.